Hello. All right, so we're looking at this question that's trying to figure out how many minutes this Scott was on hold with the customer service center. So what you want to do here is just start with your question. We're looking for how many minutes he was on hold. So what we want to think is we've got a total number of minutes, and then we've also got a number of minutes on hold. Know that we need to relate these two things somehow. So what we've been given to relate them is that we have this 2/3 ratio. And so if you look here, we've got 2 over 3. Well, the 2 represents the minutes on hold, and the 3 represents the total number of minutes. So what that means there, that 2/3, what it means is that for every 3 minutes there were totally on the phone, 2 of those were spent on hold. So what we would do then is we take this fraction, we set it equal to another fraction, and we'd say, okay, we know the time on hold is on top, so we'd say on hold on the top still, and the time in the total number of minutes is on the bottom. So we need to keep those on the top if it's on the top, and on the bottom if it's on the bottom. And then we go into our question and we look, have they given us the total minutes, or have they given us a time that we're on hold? Well, if we look, Scott spent 30 and 5/6 minutes on the phone with the customer service center. Oh, well, that's not on hold. That must be the total number of minutes. So then we come here and say 30 and 5/6. And then we should remember from reading the question, we're looking for how many minutes he was on hold. So we can stick an X right there. From here, we can just cross multiply our fractions. And we end up with 3x equals 2 times 30 and 5/6. And so then we'd roll that out and we'd say, okay, 2 times 30, and then 2 times 5/6. So 2 times 30 is easy, right? We just do our 60 here, 30 times 2, 60. And then down here, we got a fraction, so it's a little bit more difficult. But if you remember the rules for multiplying fractions is that we have to first have 2 fractions to be able to multiply. So we'd say 5/6 here, and we'd take our 2, put it on top, and any whole number, if we want to transform it into a fraction, we just stick a 1 on the bottom of it. 2 divided by 1 is 2. So the whole number 2 is just 2 over 1. And then we stick our multiplication sign there, and then we just multiply straight across. And we say 2 over 1 times 5 over 6. Well, that's 10 over 6. Right, and of course, we'd probably want to simplify that down if we can. So you should notice that 2 can go into both those numbers. So then we'd have here 5 over 3. And that would be our simplified number for our fraction. So then we've got 60 and 5/3 on the right. So now we've got 3x equals 60 and 5/3. And so then how do we get that x by itself? We have to undo whatever's been done there. So what's been done is 3x. And in algebra, if the 3 and the x are touching and they don't show anything in between them, that means they're multiplied. So to undo that, we divide by 3 on both sides. That means we divide this whole side by 3. So then we have our 60 and 5/3 divided by 3. So from here, what do we do when we're dividing and we have this fraction here? Well, that could make it really complicated, right? So we first want to change this into a whole fraction, an improper fraction. So how do we do that? We say we got a 60 here, and we have a 5/3 here. So what we do is we take our whole number and we multiply it by the denominator. So that would give us 180. And then we add whatever's on the top in the numerator, 5. What we actually have here is 185 over 3 divided by 3. So when we do division with fractions, we say, okay, what do? We keep, change, flip. So then that would turn into 185 over 3. We change the division sign to multiply, and then we flip our 3. Well, what does that mean we flip it? Well, if you remember we talked about earlier, we need to make this into a fraction. So we make it into a fraction, which we just put a 1 on the bottom of whatever the whole number is. We're dividing by 3. And then we say, okay, we flip that over. So that would be 1/3. So then we'd have here 185 times 1, that's 185, over 3 times 3, that's 9. Then from here, we need to change this back into a mixed number. So we say, how many times does 9 go into 185? Well, you use your calculator or you do your long division, and you'll figure out that it goes into it 20 times. And then we have left over this 5/9. So 20 times 9 is 180. We'll have 5 as our remainder, and we just set that 5 over the 9. And so then he was on hold for 20 minutes and 5/9 of an extra minute. If you have any questions, just holler at me.